That's my devices going mental at 9 o'clock. That must mean we're live on air, as usual. Well, after a little week break in the summer holidays, but we're back again on Wednesday night chats. It's Robert here. Got our usual special guest, Leigh Harris from Headlines Debunked. Very good channel with some really good video content. So, how are we doing?
I'm all good, thanks, mate. Yeah, weather is great in Penzance as usual. It's been, I think it's been quite sunny.
I'm gonna have to move. I tell you, see, it's always sunny in Penzance.
It is, yeah, no, but I really want to come live in Scotland because I just want the nice cold weather, the rain, love the rain, and the wind.
Have a look at your screen. Go on, look. See, best dad in Scotland.
Oh, mate, that's good. Has it been your... No, it's not been your birthday or Father's Day. How come you got that?
Because I've managed to not smash it since Father's Day, which is quite good.
Now that's an achievement. I know the feeling. Yeah.
So the news has been quite busy over the last couple of weeks, hasn't it?
It has. Well, we were talking a couple of weeks ago about how the terror season had ended and it was all quiet on the Western Front, quite literally. And then it looks like we've entered a new terrorist season with car attacks and van attacks. And
van attacks aren't van attacks. There was a van attack which didn't kill anyone. I think it maybe hurt one person. And the van was badly damaged. And it happened to be a white van very similar to the one used in all the other things. But this wasn't a terrorist attack. This was an accident.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, I don't think I saw that one.
Yeah, I don't remember where I saw that. I need to find a way of tracking things. So we have new technology in the house, new phone. New way for them to track me. So the other night, I had a friend round, and I don't game very often. My PC is a gaming PC, I think I've told you before. And I love driving simulators. Talking about driving things, and my friend decided to bring his computer around, and we got my steering wheel and pedals, his steering wheel and pedals, his computer, my computer, attached them both together and ran a LAN, which is basically you playing your own game on your own computer using separate televisions but in the same room. And it was pretty awesome, but because we were in the same room, we weren't doing like I'm doing just now with the headset and the mic. We were just chatting, because we were sitting next to each other. And there was a wee thing came up on the game, and it was like, it said my name, and then a wee speaker appeared now and again every time I spoke. And I was like, hold on a second. And I've got my old microphone I used to use for the show, the normal microphone. And I said to my mate, go and do us a favour and flick the switch on that. I think it's picking up my voice. It wasn't. It wasn't switched on. And I looked at the webcam, the one I'm using, this one here, and it was closed. And I thought, it can't be that because it's closed. And I got my mate to unplug it, and it was closed, but the microphone was still picking up my voice. So, ladies and gentlemen, you got webcams on your PCs. Make sure they get unplugged, because if not, every word you're saying is getting picked up by it.
I saw something like that. It was to do with Android devices, and yeah, it was an article that someone had discovered that your mobile phone can still record you even when you don't think it is. But yeah, this is the sort of thing that we've just come to expect now. I think even with smart televisions and all that sort of thing, even with like the camera on your mobile phone, you've got to be careful, especially with the front-facing camera. Always be mindful of what you're doing and what you're looking at.
What are you suggesting I do with my phone?
Just add this image.
I rebut your assumption.
But for other people that aren't me and Robert, just be careful what you're doing on your,
We're already screwed. We've been caught, So.
I'll tell you what, a funny story though. I went to Quick Fit. This was earlier this year. My car was due an MOT. And I took it to Quick Fit stupidly because they said they do a pre-MOT check, and it was free, and they'd find all the stuff that was wrong for me and then give me a bill to fix it. But
Nice.
In the waiting room, there was this old lady in there, and I don't think she was quite all there, to be honest. But anyway, she got talking to me with only two people in the waiting room, and she was talking about chemtrails and all the rest of
Oh,
it.
wow.
But you just don't expect it, sort of in the area that I live in, Penzance. So it was nice to meet someone else that was
Well, as
switched
this
on.
is a retirement area, people go there to,
Well,
die. So.
yeah, retired people and me. Yeah. So she's talking about, and then she got her mobile phone out of her pocket, and she's got both of the cameras, the front and rear camera, taped up. And she said,
Yes.
I know they're looking at me. I know that they are.
Did you tell her about your channel?
No, this was before then. No, this was
Oh, right,
earlier
right.
this year, because I've only been going a few weeks on the channel.
Well,
But yeah, I thought, well, there is a valid point there. There's a valid point with the camera and the microphone. But then you've got to think the millions and millions of people in not just the UK, but the westernized world. That's a lot of content for the government to sift through. And I do wonder if it's more likely activated by keywords and such like, if you were to say
keywords,
terrorist
key
or,
noises.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, like, terrorism and bomb and bang
Are
sort
you
of
just
thing.
trying to get the government to watch us? I mean, I know we haven't got high viewers, but God, I don't want the government watching us.
But yeah, so I can't say. I mean, it's just like emails. We know that all of our emails are stored on servers and can be accessed without our
Oh, yeah.
permission or the permission of the email company. The government organisations can have a look at those, and it's something that we accept. But yeah, it's always interesting, like you say, when you come across evidence of it and you can see it happening, and it does make you think. You think, oh Christ.
Well, you're talking about the way they're clamping down on sort of securities and things like that. There was a thing today. I'm just trying to find it. Is facial recognition tech safe or scary? And they're saying that the police hold more than 20 million facial recognition images in the UK, which means that when you've been walking around in these cameras that are never switched on for terrorist events, they've picked up your face and recorded it, and recorded every wee dot on your face, and used your mobile phones to do it, and they now have a record of over 20 million of them.
Yeah, because I know it's big in advertising, because we don't realise that when we go to some of the bigger department stores and the bigger shops, the marketing departments that have got in there, they're using facial recognition to analyse our expressions. Whether we're
if you
happy
look grumpy and yeah,
that's it. When we go past a certain display that's been merchandised, they're
That's how
assessing
candy
us all the
floss
time.
smells to make you smile.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and of course there's supposed to be all these subliminal messages being played out as well, and it's clever stuff. But yeah, all of our faces on record. But you slipped in a good point there about it never seems to work with terrorism. If we're all being analysed and our faces are on these systems, why is it never the terrorist faces that are on these systems? Why is it only us?
It's only us, yeah. Hey, back to QuickFit. I have to, on a light-hearted story about QuickFit as well. Why are we plugging them tonight? They're a really bad company. I wouldn't want to plug them. Don't go there ever. Find someone better. Much cheaper.
They're terrible. Well, they quoted me £600 to get my car through an MOT. So, of course, at the time I couldn't afford that. So I went to a local garage down the road, and it cost me about 90 quid, and it was through. Typical.
Well, that's along similar lines of this story, and the punchline you'll love. My friend's father went to QuickFit and he needed a tire, I think it was. And they said, well, while we're doing the tire, we'll give the car a check over for you, see if it needs anything else. And he went, oh, thanks very much. That's really nice of you. So he went and sat down with his free cup of coffee, or his 20p cup of coffee, whatever it was, and drank it. And he came back and he said, right, we've checked your car, we've done your tire. I'm afraid to tell you need a whole new exhaust system at a cost of, I think it was like 300 odd quid or something. And he went, oh, right, okay, well, you might as well just go ahead and do it, if you've got one in stock. And he went, yeah, of course. So they went ahead and did it. And came back and they handed him the bill. And he says, what's this? And he went, well, we fixed your tire and then we give you a new exhaust. They said, yeah, but I bought an exhaust off you 2 years ago with a 10-year lifetime guarantee, a 10-year guarantee on it. In fact, it wasn't 2 years. It was like months prior to it. It was very close to it. And they just fitted this new exhaust, and they tried to bill him for a second one. And he went, no, you give me one with a lifetime guarantee or 10-year guarantee or whatever it was. So Quick Fit ended up having to pay for an extra exhaust. And he only had to pay for the tyre.
And so they should as well.
And I was watching one on TV in America. Now, people are quite naive with cars. I try to do as much of my own work on my car as I can. A, because I can't afford garages. B, because I have the ability to know how to do it, you know. But I was watching this thing, and it was in Canada, Ontario, I believe it was. And it was this place that it was like Budget Lube, I think the place was called. And you go in there, and all they do is they change your lubrications. They change your oil, your brake fluid, your steering fluid, all these sort of things. And they sent in cars which had been newly done with new lubrication on everything. And they'd put it into the garage, and they put it in my hidden cameras and pinhole cameras everywhere. And the guy had the same speech. He said 3 people in on the same day, and the guy used the same speech on all 3 people with 3 different lubrications. The colour was wrong, which meant there was a problem. There was a burning smell coming from it, and it needed done. And the bill went from $29 up to $256 was the most expensive one, but they were all between $200 and $256. So yeah, I mean, if you're going to get work done in your car, you don't know about cars and you don't know how garages work and stuff, you know, have a wee look at some videos or wee reviews online or anything like that. If you're not sure about a place, go and read a review in the garage. You know, if somebody's put up good reviews, it's going to be worth going and giving that a try, you know. Just be careful.
Absolutely, yeah. And get a second opinion if you're not happy as well. Definitely.
Yeah, you're ugly as well.
Yeah.
Your car's nagged and you're ugly.
Confirmed. Yeah. So what did you make of the great American solar eclipse that North America had from coast to coast?
It confused the hell out of me, I've got to say, because we rotate at 1,000 miles an hour, allegedly. And we spin west to east. And the moon goes round us west to east, I believe, while we go around the earth. While we go around the earth, while we go around the sun. It crossed the USA at 3,500 miles an hour in the same direction it spins. I'm not a scientist. It just confused me, and I think it confused a lot of people as well.
Yeah, I saw a few issues about that. I mean, I haven't looked deeply into it, but
it's the Mandela effect. It's always gone that way. We just never saw it before because we weren't looking.
Absolutely, man. I think what it came down, what the official explanation came down to, was because of the distance of the moon, and it was to do with those rotating speeds, but also the distances. Like I said, I didn't go too far into it. I think with something like that, the problem is NASA has got its maths down to an absolute T, and its whole concept of the universe is created on its mathematics. I don't think it's something that they're going to slip up on in that respect. So I didn't take too much notice of it.
The 70-mile shadow didn't make sense. Think about the way shadows work. If you stand in the sunlight and the sun's behind you, for example, it's not going to do a 5'9" shadow of me. It's going to do like a 7-foot or an 8-foot shadow of me if the sun's setting or the sun's further behind me.
I can see something with this to do with distances. The further something is away, the more light is coming. Well, it's difficult to explain, but the further away it is, the more light is bending around and inwards, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But the thing is, if the sun is 400 times bigger than the moon, and we're bigger than the moon, right? So we can see past the moon, right? that means there's 400 times more light getting past the moon as well. Right? There's 400 times more light getting sent to the moon, but the moon's only blocking 400 times less than that.
I see where you're coming from. Yeah, I can
Where
see
did
what
the
you're
rest
saying
of the light go? You know what I mean? The light just, it's not a beam. The sun isn't a beam of light that comes with that. And then the moon moves in front of it and blocks it. It's like, oh, okay. You know, like getting a torch and putting a plate in front of it. That's what an eclipse is like. But we're told that the sun's 400 times bigger than the moon. So surely there's 400 times more light coming, and it's coming from the sides, and it would come past because light's constant.
Yeah, no, I can see that. Yeah, I'm just trying to picture it in my mind. So obviously they say everything was perfectly aligned, the perfectly same size because of the distances and how much further away the sun is. But yeah, I can see what you're saying there. If it blocks out the sun, then there is no other light to come around the side.
Yeah.
So I get where you're coming
So
from.
where did the rest of the light go? Because the light goes out in all directions from the sun. It doesn't come out like a tube, you know? And that's the way it's shut off. It's shut off like a beam of light.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. Yeah, and then some people were saying that it was another planet as well that was coming in front of the sun. Not the moon,
Rahu.
but, yeah.
Rahu, the black sun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, right. My problem I had with that, I don't have a problem with Rahu. I have a problem with the eclipse again. And it's based on, we're told that the moon lights up because of the reflection on the dust of the moon from the sun. Yeah? The dust is reflective. So surely if the moon passes between us and the sun, the reflection of the light from the earth, from the sun bouncing off the earth, 70% water earth, sand, stuff like that, reflective stuff, surely that should light the moon up on our side, as does the moon with us. You understand?
Yeah, I think I'm with you.
Good, because I'm not. I know what I'm trying to say. I just can't. I've not got diagrams, you know, sun, earth, moon. I would think the sun, if the sun's hitting us, right, which it is because everyone was out looking at it because of the eclipse, there's water in that shot, in that 180 degrees of that ball, if you will. Surely there should be light reflecting from that, more so than the moon, because the moon is just dust that's reflecting. They're actually reflecting using water, which should cause hot spots and all sorts.
Yeah.
So I'm of the belief when the moon was coming along beside the sun, as we see it, you know, you saw the two discs coming in, then you saw it cross over. I believe at that point we should be able to see detail on the moon.
Yeah, and at the very least, it should have been illuminated around the edges.
Well, we see the moon in daylight, so how couldn't we see it then? It's just very confusing.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. And for the people that believe it was another planet coming across the front, I mean, my question would be, if that was the case, then at that particular time, where was the moon? Because you know, NASA's got it all charted out, and as far as we're aware, it all seems to tally up with what they tell us from day to day throughout a year. So where would the moon have been if that was different?
Well, you know the map that I've been looking into recently, and according to that map, the moon disappears for a couple of days.
Okay.
I don't know enough about it. Don't ask me questions. I'm just saying what I've heard.
Right,
apparently, the moon disappears for a couple of days. Okay. I don't know where it goes, but
that's an interesting one. Yeah,
I've just lost something here. Hang on a moment. So, but yeah, I mean, you know, Matthew, my son, turned around to me the other day and he says, Dad, have you heard of Nibiru? I'm like, oh, jeez, well, did you hear that there?
No, what was that?
I just headbutted the door with I'm not used to walking around with headphones on, eh? So it was just a large thud. Yeah, he came up and he said, Dad, have you heard about Nibiru? And I went, yes, son, I've heard about Nibiru. And he says, yeah, it's meant to be coming this year, you know? I went, son, it's not. I says, you know, Planet X, whatever you want to call it. I said, Nibiru. I says, it's not coming. I says, it wasn't coming last year either, or the year before, or the year before, or the year before, or every other year that I've been told that Nibiru's coming. It was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the problem. I think there's so much stuff that's designed to trap people's minds and get them researching down a dead end. But, you know, I think the bigger issues that people should be researching are things like evolution and the dinosaur hoax. And, you know, I mean, evolution is a pretty big one about how we're all here and how we came to be. I mean, that's something that's worth looking into, and how there is no evidence for it. Certainly no evidence from an evolution.
There's plenty of evolution, plenty of evolution. Sorry, there's plenty of evidence of creation. You know, there's the perfect ratio, and what's the other thing? The numbers. What's it? Fibonacci.
Oh, Fibonacci. Yeah, that's yeah.
These things aren't just coincidences.
No, that's it. There's definitely something to look into there, and things like evolution are the things I think where the attention should be. And every single dinosaur discovery, if people look into them, I mean, I must admit I've not looked into every single discovery, but of the ones I have looked into, very conveniently, there's always been a really interesting backstory that sort of negates how legitimate it is. Yeah.
They went out looking for dinosaur bones and found dinosaur bones.
Well, that's it, yeah. One of the latest ones I found in Canada, there was a guy, he was a quarry worker. He operated sort of a digger in a quarry, and he'd been to his local dinosaur museum, and a week later, he suddenly discovered one of the rarest dinosaurs ever found in this quarry.
That's right, so he did, and it was unrecognisable, but they said it was almost like it was preserved as it was on the day, you know?
It was a lump of rock that took, I think, was it I can't remember now, but 5 or 6 years to chisel it away to actually find and, you know, reveal the dinosaur within the rock.
What it actually was, yeah.
Yeah, but on the very week of him discovering this, apparently some experts from the museum came out to see it, and they knew how old it was, they knew exactly what it was, they knew all the details about it.
But the paleontologists, that's what they do, you know, they're experts.
Yeah, they know everything. And it took 5 or 6 years to uncover it, and lo and behold, everything they had said before was correct. So that was good.
That shows, do you know what that proves to you? That proves that you need a proper, good school education, because that education taught those people how to do that.
Absolutely. Taught them everything they needed to know. Yep. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Unless I'm not doing a sarcastic tone really well. I am being sarcastic, okay? I'm watching.
Yeah, so that's it. So evolution, definitely a big one. And I think we've got so many things completely, you know, to sidetrack us. And what I found with YouTube is it's all about entertainment. And it's really difficult to convey anything serious on there because people are just looking for a quick fix. You know,
yeah,
they just want to be told something.
That they want their cute.
They think they know. Well, yeah. They want their beliefs to be confirmed to them. So if they've watched one video that tells them, you know, there was a different planet went across the sun on the eclipse, every video they watch from there, they just want it to tell them they were right, and that is correct. And that
is the path you take, isn't it? I mean, if you sit and watch a video on YouTube on whatever, you'll go on a path of that subject.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's not going to go into one that debunks it, because that's not how the algorithms work, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. That's it. You'll be looking specifically for things that prove that your thoughts are right, and you'll disregard everything else. It's simple as that.
Yeah, sorry, on you go.
I was going to say, so it's a pretty well, it's a pretty biased path to go along, and you know you can't really call it evidence when you're doing things like that. And but yeah, the comments that I've received on YouTube on some of my videos, I mean, I've got the comments set to be approved first, so nothing can be shown until I've approved it, and I've got links blocked and things like that. But the comments that people leave, you can tell straight away when someone's not actually watched a video, or they've clicked on it, the first couple of seconds have rolled, they've stopped it, and they've left a comment based on the title. And there's nothing more frustrating than that. There really isn't.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially a lot of my videos, because they're mainly satire and parodies. So it starts off, you know, in a parody style joking.
What they want to hear.
Yeah, and they don't stay on for, you know, the middle and the end where I actually explain what I'm talking about.
And the thing is, you can go and see the I can't remember what it's called again, but you can go and look at how long people have been online and what have you, and how long they've watched them, and they're switched off and stuff, you know.
That's it. Yeah, you can see the analytics. You can see exactly when, you see exactly when they've left the video. You can see pretty much what their viewing habits are. But yeah, it's interesting. Not many people ever make it to the end of a video, and usually the attention span ends at around 2 minutes. I mean, between 2 and 4 minutes. If you can on that long, then you've done a really good job. But that's the really rare exception. It doesn't usually happen. But I mean, for me, I like listening to long podcasts. You know, if I'm just like cleaning the kitchen or something, doing the washing up or whatever, I like to have a podcast style YouTube video on. Yeah,
it's the sort of thing I should actually do, because I mean, the amount of times I actually think, oh, there's a wee video, I'll set much and it's maybe 13 minutes. So I'll start doing whatever it is I'm doing. And then say you're doing dishes, that's you've got wet hands, 30 minutes up. Yeah, okay, go and look for another video now. Oh, what's that? All right, it's only 2 minutes. I'll just sit and watch it and then I'll look for something else, you know. So no, that's actually a good idea. The thing is, you can lose a lot of time though, you know, if you get right into these things. I watched a medical seminar once, which I thought was interesting, Dr. Bob Beck. And I thought, I'll just watch to see what it says, you know, the first 10, 15 minutes. You know, I'm not watching the whole medical thing, you know. 2 hours, 15 minutes later, I was like, wow, that was really good. You know.
That's it. And they're the best ones. That, you know, you can always tell when a YouTube video is going to be really good is when it doesn't try and sort of capture your attention with, you know, the flashing lights and all the music and everything.
Well, like yours.
You know, yeah, like mine. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, oh my goodness.
That's it. Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully in the future I've built up an audience that sort of knows what it is that I'm doing, and then I can explain a bit more. But for now, I mean, to get any views on YouTube, one thing you have to do is use the clickbait thumbnails and the clickbait titles. But as long as you give some content that does relate to those thumbnails and those titles, then it's not too bad. I mean, the biggest problem is when none of it matches up. So someone sees a picture, sees a title, they click, and the content they get is completely separated from what they're expecting. So as long as you can sort of present it, you know, to what their expectations are. But no, it's a real challenge that I'm sort of learning as I'm going along. You know, it's quite a difficult one to get right. The other problem, of course, is, I mean, I've literally got a handful of subscribers. I think the last time I checked, about 75 subscribers. And when I check the analytics on the videos, the most subscribers that have ever watched my videos after, around 3%. The rest of the views come from YouTube searches and recommended videos. So my subscribers aren't actually seeing my videos at all.
Okay.
So it makes you think. I mean, I know a lot of people that monetize their videos, they say quite a lot that your subscriber count doesn't matter because your subscribers don't watch the videos. So if your money from your monetization comes in purely from views, then don't worry about your subscribers, just aim for views, because the bulk of it comes in from suggested videos.
The thing is, I mean, I don't agree with that, because I mean, there's a few people I follow, car related things actually, you know, Mighty Car Mods in Australia, cool show. And when they when I subscribe anyway, I mean, I log into my account, obviously, because I use YouTube for this. So I get to keep my history and subscribe and get notifications, etc. So the ones that I really like, I tend to get the wee bell thing. I hit the wee bell, and that way I can get a notification when I've got a new video out, and I never miss one of their videos. You go into their profile and you see the red bars on all their videos and the uploads because I've watched the whole series. I feel it's down to the content, the quality of the content that you're given. And if you've got enough subscribers, it is to do with views as well, but you always hear about them going on about, come on, let's see if we can hit that 1,000 subscribers. I believe there's rewards at certain levels of subscribing. And also subscribers, you probably don't see on your account, but when you set up, it only allows you to do certain things after you've got 1,000 subscribers. For example, doing a live event from mobile, like things like that,
Well, you can do live broadcasts with 100 subscribers. They dropped that count. But it did used to be 1,000. Before that, it was 10,000. So they've been dropping the standards quite significantly. But I mean, I'd imagine that channel that you watch, it's probably got more than 100 views per videos like mine. It's probably thousands. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you're a fan of that program. So I've got YouTube channels that I follow like that, specifically the same. But I'd imagine from the thousands of views they get, if you were to ask them to check their analytics, the percentage of subscribers that are watching that would be minuscule.
From their views are mainly from people looking for car videos, have searched cars, their videos come up and they've clicked on it.
That's it, and from recommended views. But yeah, that's the way it seems to work.
Sorry.
Carry on.
No, it was my next question. I was going to ask if you have any plans on going to the Reading Festival.
Reading Festival?
Reading Festival. No.
No.
I just wanted to remind you that you're not allowed to take any pineapples with you.
Are they a terrorist weapon? They're spiky.
I believe it's something to do with a band has got a song called Pineapple on Your Head or something. Oh, so apparently pineapples have been banned from the Reading Festival.
Right. Health and safety, so people don't stick them on their heads. Yeah.
Because you would stick a pineapple on your head, wouldn't you?
Oh dear God, yeah.
Yeah, so no, it's festival season though. We had a good festival up here. We had Tea in the Park. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I have, mate. Yeah.
Everyone's heard of Tea in the Park. It was awesome. They've shut it down.
Oh,
it's one of the biggest festivals in Scotland, an amazing event, and they've shut it down because, well, I'm not quite sure why they shut it down. They had it in Balado. It started somewhere else, then they put it in Balado and Fife, or Kinrussia, or wherever it is, and then they moved it to Perth last year, I believe it was, and they're not having it anymore. So either that or the guy's just made enough money now he doesn't care anymore.
He can retire.
Yeah. It's like, right, well, thanks for that. It was fun. Bye-bye.
I saw you had the Edinburgh Festival.
Yeah, my friend went last night, actually. He went to see Stiff Little Fingers.
Oh, okay. Is that a band?
Oh, yeah. I forget. You're young, aren't you? You're not in your 70s like me. So, yeah, it's a band from the 70s and 80s. Yeah.
Ah, right. Okay. Yeah, I was watching another YouTuber, Jed Skeptic, and he's Scottish, like you. There's two of you.
Yeah.
And he was doing a live broadcast from it. I didn't get to watch all of it because it was during the day, but yeah, I just saw that Edinburgh Festival. But
there's a band I highly recommend that play the festival called the Showhawk Duo, and it's two guys on acoustic guitars. And these guys, they played I don't know what the name of the big nightclub in Ibiza is, but they played there. They do dance music on acoustic guitars. One of the guys plays his guitar like it's a percussion instrument. So he's giving you the bass line, the dun, 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 dun. Like he's actually thumping the side of the guitar, but with his left hand, he's giving you a bass line. So it's going boom, 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 boom. And then the guy's playing the actual song, and you're like, it is amazing. These guys are fantastic. I have on the music thing. I mean, I sent you the buskers, didn't I? What are they called again? Fat Bollard?
No. You keep saying you send me these things. You never do.
I must have. The ones that sung at the council, there was like 4 of them standing outside a shop. And these 2 council workers went up and started saying, listen, you need to shift.
Yeah, I did see that, but you didn't send it to me. But I did see that on Facebook, yeah.
Right. Go and have a look at Fat Bollard. Anyone watching, go and look at Fat Bollard. They're brilliant. The song Council was brilliant, but the 2 other ones that do Money, Millionaire, and they're all about the right thing. They all mean the right thing. They're all good, you know. And then I had my other new song, the one I sent you, which we haven't actually discussed yet. I sent you, and you sent me a message back. That was the greatest. What was it? Greatest Flat Earth song ever, or whatever it was. Come on, then. What did you think?
Oh, I thought it was a catchy tune. I think the guy is very talented.
Did you see how he did it? Did you watch the video?
Yeah.
Did you see how he did it? Like all of it, it was with his mobile phone.
Oh, was it odd? Right. Okay.
When he had mirrored glasses on, and you could see when he was like, and he was in front of a piano, and his phone was sitting on the piano.
Ah, right. Yeah. You see, I sent you that screenshot because I thought when it went black and white, he looked identical to you in your profile picture. So I did that little thing with the arrow because I was thinking, "Whoa, it's you."
Yeah, my new profile picture works well on the poker. It looks really good.
Right, yeah.
I look mean and moody. I've lost millions.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, I thought the song was good. Did he make reference to Math Powerland and?
He made a reference to Math Powerland, and he made reference to who's the guy who painted the blue marble.
Oh, I don't know.
Because that wasn't Math Powerland, was it?
No, but have they admitted the blue marble was painted now then?
Well, apparently there's this artist who worked for NASA. That's what he sings about in the song. He said he was offered this job at NASA. He did these landscapes, and people said it looked like just like photos. He said then he was approached by this dude who offered him a job painting globes at NASA.
All right. I thought he was referring to Math Powerland in that bit.
Well,
because I was going to say the only thing with that is he's a comedian, and I don't think he was being serious. But I mean that's just my interpretation of it. I don't know.
There's meant to no. I've seen a picture of the guy they're referring to when they talk about this dude. He's wearing a blue t-shirt. I know that doesn't describe who it is. I'm just picturing. I'm thinking out loud. Yeah, no. I mean, obviously somebody made the paintings, So.
Yeah.
Let's have a wee Google, shall we? We've got the.
Yeah, was it a painting or was it when they were at very high altitude? It was an image taken, well, not an image, but a photograph,
together. Yeah,
a photograph taken from out of the sort of porthole window that they had on whatever aircraft they were on. Wasn't it a photograph from that? And then they cropped around. Well, it was a black outline anyway because it was dark inside the craft, and they just took that as being the Earth because it was circular. Isn't that what they did?
That was on a funny thing happened on the way to the moon. When they put the lens up against the round window.
Yeah.
That was only a small section of the Earth, though. You could tell by the way the clouds went all the way from the north to the south. That
would have made sense, yeah.
One big cloud. I'm just having a wee scan on the Googles here. And announced 9 hours ago, Elon Musk reveals first official photo of SpaceX spacesuit. Now, this will be the special suits that were designed by the guy who designed the suits for Iron Man.
Yes, I remember hearing about that, yeah. I've got a feeling this might go the same way that Virgin went with Richard Branson when he was developing his space planes, and he was, it was all official. People were going into space because he designed the craft. and they were just doing some tests, and then the very last test, the craft exploded into a ball of
right,
flames. And, I've got a feeling SpaceX is going to go the same way in relation to putting people into space. I can just see it happening. But yeah, I think so far SpaceX hasn't put a single person in space. Yet they've got this notoriety as being the space program in competition with NASA. But all they've done is they've sent, or allegedly sent, a rocket up and brought it back down in some very dodgy filming. And that's it. And yet they've been spoken about in the media. Like, this company is really ahead of the times. Like, it's got all the technology. You know, it's on the brink of putting people into space and going to Mars and whatever else they're talking about. But they haven't actually done anything.
I know. They've fired some rockets up into the air.
That's it, yeah. And then it apparently brought it back down
On
to
its
a landing pad, which was really suspicious.
Can you excuse me a second? I've got a phone call. I thought people knew I did this. Excuse me a second.
Well, Mr. Peden will be back after this short interval. When you hear the sirens, head inside your house. Head towards a room that is not connected by outer walls. You and your family should be safe there from the nuclear fallout. Once the nuclear attack is over, you will hear 3 short bangs. Once these bangs have finished, you will know that the nuclear attack has finished. You must beware of radioactive fallout.
Have we been affected by the radioactive fallout yet?
I was just alerting people to the imminent dangers of a nuclear strike.
Thank you for that short intermission that was sponsored by no one. Come on, I mean, you surely had stuff you could have taken up a couple of minutes with. I thought I could have had a wee chat with my pal on the phone there.
I was doing all right till he interrupted me. It was an infomercial broadcast.
Infomercials. When are we going to get infomercials? And see the kids all the time, you know, talking about the mall or talking about just using America. Everything's going American. And I have nothing against American. I'm not a bigot. I don't, you know what I mean? But we're Britain, you know, and we have our own things. Why do we have to take on the American things, you know, and go the way they're going?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think the Americanisms are, well, yeah, it's part of corporate culture as well, I think. Because we're dominated by the
consume
American, but that's it, yeah.
But
yeah. And also, I mean, particularly in England, we have no culture, we have no history. We're not taught English history in schools. We're taught British history, but not English. We have no identity, so it's easier for us in England to get swept up in the Americanisms because our children have no identity.
History. There's a good choice of things. Okay. I like the way these chats go because you just say a word, it's like, oh, I know something about that. So the other day I had a wee thought and it was like, how old's America? Now, I don't mean how old is a bit of land is America. I mean, how old is America? When was it discovered?
200 years ago, Mr. P.
200 years ago. Thank you. And then we've got Australia. How old is Australia?
200 years.
200 years. So we've got 200 years Australia, 200 years America. So did we talk about? I've forgotten if we talked about this on the phone.
No, not at all. I just know all these things that you're about to
because
say.
anyone that I've asked in the past, I've gone, I'm not sure, and it's like, look, we've just had the bicentennial. That's like 200 years.
Yeah, you did tell me about it. That's where I got my figures from. I mean, to be honest, I've not looked into it, so I've not got a clue. But
anyway, yeah,
200,
it's
so
200 years in both, right? So it's like, well, Didn't anyone explore before 200 years ago? Surely somebody went in a boat. You know, like we said, the Vikings came over here. Did they come over here and go, well, we found land, that's got to be the end of the earth, you know, we don't need to go any further? Surely they would have said, right, we've raped and pillaged here enough. Let's go and see if there's someone else we can go and rape and pillage.
Yeah, you would have thought so. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, if those dates are correct, I mean, if that's what the history books say, then absolutely. That is a little bit too...
Let's find out, shall we? Let's find out, shall we? Let's do it officially. When was Australia discovered?
1770. Here's a summary from School A to Z. In 1770, Captain Cook discovered the...
Captain Cook discovered in 1770, so 250 years ago, yeah? On you go. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I love throwing in spanners because I just love to see a reaction.
Okay.
So that's what Google says,
mm-hmm.
and we know that Google is
correct.
Well, it's the modern version of book burning at the moment. It's deleting everything.
Yeah, we don't need encyclopedias anymore. Where are the people who used to knock on your door and say, "Can I offer you what was it, Encyclopedia Britannica?" Remember they used to sell the grips of books? But you're probably too young.
I was down the corner shop. I was buying
the dirty old man, yeah. Want some sweets, little boy.
Yeah,
so right.
People to buy me cider. Yeah.
When was America discovered?
The voyages of Christopher Columbus started August 3rd.
Okay, we're wrong. That's 1492. Okay. I'm talking rubbish, okay? It's just Australia that's 200 years old. They're 600 years old. So, yeah, it's but it is a bit strange, though. I mean, I know Australia's far away in whatever direction it is, you know, but yeah.
Well, think about this then. I mean, if we, just for 2 seconds, say it is a globe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that so we can picture where Australia is compared to the US or South America. And let's say there were a lot of Native American Indians, and they were both northern and southern continent in America. Did they not build boats?
Yeah.
Could they not have sailed anywhere?
What about Malaysia, India?
That's it, yeah,
all these
exactly,
places, you know, did they? I've seen pictures from like old, you know, you see old films and they get a bit of a tree and they scoop it out and they put it in the water and they go, you know.
That's it, yeah, exactly. So they should have been able to travel to these places. Why? You know, the history has definitely been rewritten. It's been rewritten for us in the West without a shadow of a doubt, because that point nails it. Because the Native American Indians, if they existed, even as we were told, they would have built boats, they would have sailed. And like you said as well, East Asians, they would have sailed, they would have found these places.
How come nobody found Britain? You don't hear about this Indian guy who went out on a ship and he found Britain.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
yeah.
I discovered Britain. There was all these white people living there.
Exactly.
And we took over their land and kicked them out.
Yeah, all of history, from what I can tell anyway, it doesn't make sense. I think a lot of, you know, it's clearly made up, clearly rewritten.
And it's rewritten the fairy tale.
It is. Now,
the kings and the queens and the princes and princesses and the battles and the love and the hate and the, you know.
Well, that's it. Now, a lot of people would say, oh, it's 1984. It's using the memory hole and rewriting history. And wasn't 1984 so accurate? It predicted the future.
Mandela effect.
But I mean, my only grievance with the book 1984 is, firstly, because it is so accurate to what we see today. So Orwell was obviously
the 50s. It was written.
Yeah, it was just after the war, so late 40s.
Right about when I was born, I think. Yeah.
Definitely after the war. I know that much at least, but it makes me suspicious, as everything does, as you can tell. But it's so accurate. So Orwell was clearly intelligent. and he knew all of these things, and he penned everything.
Or he knew.
Or he knew, yeah. But yeah, and so the point is, but if he was that intelligent and he could see all these things, he stopped with Big Brother. He stopped with the party, the government. And we know for a fact that governments are only a small subsidiary of what's really happening. So why did he stop the blame at the party, at the government? How come he never once mentioned the global elite that we had control in? Why did he stop short there? So even a book like that makes me wonder. And secondly, as he was correct, how did 1984 ever get into circulation anyway amongst the people? Because if it was that accurate, it's not something surely that would, the powers that be would want the masses to see.
Yeah.
And obviously, because it stops with the government, I guess that's not too bad for them. Because it does. The problem is we know that the voting system is a sham. We know that elections are a sham and multi-party systems are a sham.
Yeah.
But 1984 validates all of that, and that probably could be why the book is is allowed.
Now, talking about 1984, I mean, it seems to be the path we're on tonight. But we've spoken in the past about electric cars and the way things are going with banning petrols and diesels by 2040, or banning the sale of them. Sorry. And they're going to electric. Again, could this be something to do with the 1984 thing? Could this be another form of control? Because then they'll be able to control the cars. Can't control the cars just now. A lot of vehicles getting rammed into people, eh?
It's a very good point. And the point as to why, was it hemp was never used? Hemp could be used as a fuel and as paper and the rest of it.
Henry Ford used hemp. He grew hemp and used it as fuel. There was who was the President Lincoln maybe smoked it. Queen Elizabeth the first smoked it for PMS. Yeah, hemp's got a lot of good juices.
So there's the other point as well, because they've told us for so long that oil, petrol, these things are apparently in such short supply,
running out.
Yet people are starting to notice that, hang on a minute, we've been using them for decades and decades.
Well, could I tell you a wee thing about the Russians? Do you know how the Russians drill for oil?
No.
Right. The Russians drill a hole, put in their gizmo that takes oil out of the ground. They take all the oil out of the ground, 1 billion barrels or however much it is. They cap it when it runs out, and they go away and they drill somewhere else and put another thing in. Then maybe 10, 15 years later, they go back and they take the cap off. And they start taking oil out it again. And apparently oil is not, what's it called? Fossil fuel. Apparently it's renewable.
Well, this is it. And that's my suspicion. I mean, this could be why they're moving away from it, because they have to validate everything they've told us. Because if it's supposed to be from decayed organic matter, then it should have a finite lifespan.
And how much, I mean, if you think about, say, a dinosaur, right? An average sized dinosaur, if they existed, has died, ended up within the ground and become oil. How many dinosaurs was there? If we've been consuming oil the way we've been doing it, and billions of barrel loads, probably trillions of barrel loads, how much, fossil stuff was there?
Exactly. Good point. Yeah. No, that's it. And so they've obviously got to, make this story viable by saying, well, we're going to stop producing cars that use it because it's running out, just like we told you it would. But yeah, then the point you made also comes into play. Once you've got people connected to electricity and really dependent on it for transport. I mean, we've already got smart meters going into houses for electricity supply, so they can control it remotely now. and that's been more widespread, certainly throughout the UK as time goes on.
Smart meters are not smart if you're watching. If you know anyone who's considering it, I said somebody knocked at the door and said they need to have it. They don't need to have it. It's not compulsory. Stay with the meter you're on.
That's it. Yeah, with the Wi-Fi signals that they put out. But with all this, you would have thought with all the terrorist activity, with such high risk, a terrorist could hack into the network system and bring down all of the electricity suppliers if they're all on smart meters. So why are people so keen to jump to it? Purely because those that are on prepay can top up their meters by their mobile phone. But then apparently they forget all about terrorists. It's like, well, it's one or the other. Seriously.
Well, I'm on prepay on my electricity. Just because I haven't ever changed it over. It means a guy coming in and changing the meter and stuff like that. Can't be bothered, to be quite honest with you. But I've got my gas on meter, on monthly, billed. And local shop, up 5-minute walk up the road, they do electricity. I take my key up there and put it in. It's no inconvenience. I don't need to do it from my mobile phone. I go out now and again.
Well, ours is on a prepay meter, and it's because we ran up a huge debt. So they forcefully put it in. But one of the terms of use of the meter is it will not cut out during nighttime hours.
Yeah, I've heard this. I've never put it to the test, but I've heard this.
No, nor have I. But it was on all the information leaflets we got that it will not stop working during nighttime. Right. So that makes you wonder. People's excuses, well, it's convenient to top up your mobile phone because if the shop is shut, I can just use my phone. Yeah. But the meter isn't going to cut out anyway when the shop is shut. So that's invalid,
It's a strange one. Don't like the power companies. I mean, we owned the power companies. When we were, before pre-Maggie, we owned the power companies. They were the people's, and now they were sold off like everything else. Like steel industry and like the NHS and everything just gets sold off. So
were they state owned?
They were state owned, yeah.
So they weren't owned by us then. They were.
No, they were publicly owned, I believe. Whatever it was, I can't remember. But it was the people who owned them.
The government owned them.
Government.
People didn't own them, did they?
Anyway,
it's a terminology, isn't it?
There was a story in the news today about a huge deal that Britain have managed to get. Coming into Brexit, we've managed to get this good business deal with Mexico. City of Mexico are buying 2,000 buses. I think it was 2,000 buses from Britain to go across to Mexico. Isn't that good? And it's creating 1,300 jobs, which is even better. So Theresa May is a way to visit I want to get my information correct. I don't want to just spiel off, because my memory is terrible. But she's away to one of the factories to give them a pat on the back or whatever. And why can I hear music? Oh, jeez, my phone's playing music. Why are you playing music? Okay. We have a new phone and it's playing up. There we go. Wow. I don't even know why it was playing music then. All right. Business. Here we go. Right. I can't even remember what I'm looking for now. That music just blew my head. Here we go. Buses sold to Mexico with aid of taxpayers' cash. So we're paying for Britain to sell buses to Mexico. So a British firm is to sell 90, not 2,000, sorry, see, I got my figures wrong. 90 red double-decker buses to Mexico after the government put up 1.7 billion of taxpayers' money to help exporters. How much does it cost for 90 red double-decker buses?
I had this argument when it came to the Brexit vote. I was arguing with family, and they were firmly in support of Brexit. They weren't a couple of months previous, but when the media changed its stance, they changed their stance too, coincidentally. But the point I was making to them was whether we stay in Europe or leave Europe, however much money is claimed to be saved, how would that benefit their lives? Would they ever see any of that money? How would it benefit them?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they couldn't answer the question because nobody knows, because these facts and figures that come out about expenditure through government, does it really, let's say those buses weren't sold, or this plan didn't happen,
Mm-hmm.
our taxes wouldn't change, the amount of services that we receive wouldn't change, nothing would change. It's almost like these figures that are banded about are completely irrelevant to us. We're taxed what we're taxed, we receive what we receive. It doesn't matter to me anyway. This is just what I've observed. It doesn't matter what goes on in the accounting department of the government, because nothing changes for us. We still pay the same.
I know.
And the services,
and it's always more and more for less and less.
That's it. Yeah, exactly.
Well, anyway, the point I wanted to make about this bus deal was, she said the financial support for firms has helped more than 130 of them expand and win overseas contracts. So Mrs. May will head to Guildford in Surrey later to visit bus manufacturer Alexander Dennis, who has secured a $44 million finance deal to sell the iconic double-decker buses to Mexico City. It's created around 2,000 jobs across the UK, including 320 at Surrey site, which she's going to visit, or she went to visit today. And it's creating 1,000 jobs in Falkirk, my hometown, where I am. Actually, they're made just down the road from here, but literally a mile away. It's creating 1,000 jobs for this deal. But it's this 1.7 billion that I'm trying to figure out what it's for. Government says 1.7 billion awarded by UK Export Finance since it's become part of the Department for International Trade to help businesses make the most of the opportunities offered by Brexit. So Brexit's working. That's basically what they're saying by this, aren't they? But it's cost us 1.7 billion.
So it's created 1,000 slave jobs to take people away from their families.
2,000
slave jobs. I just look at these things completely upside down on their head, really. I can't see any, and I do wonder if these stories about facts and figures and the expenditure are put out to make us sort of look at them and analyse them as if we have some kind of control. And
but you do, because you get to vote.
Yeah, but I absolutely agree. And that's what it's.
I think that's, if you go out and vote, and remember there's people out there who voted for Brexit, and they're now going to go, oh, look at this, Brexit's working, 2,000 jobs. So next time there's an election, we need to vote Tory because they're doing really well.
This is it, yeah. And then the other half that say, no, this isn't good, they then think to themselves, well, I'm going to vote for the other party then because they wouldn't do this. And yeah, and it ties back, for me, it ties back to the fact this makes absolutely no difference to our lives whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But it gets people, it makes people feel like they're involved, like they have some kind of say in things. And yeah, it does. It holds up the voting system, and that's what it's all about. Because without that voting system, there'd be a big problem.
I was reading a thing the other day, and it was just a meme, and it says, we go and get a mortgage to buy a house to live in so that we can work. But, we've got somewhere to live so that we can sleep and then go to work. We get into a car that we pay a lot of money for so we can get to work. And you go to work and you sit there all day and you leave that house that you work to pay for empty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's crazy. Why do we do this? Why do people, you get people out there and they're maybe 30, 40 grand a year. And they're like, doing well. I've got a nice house, private estate, no neighbours right next to me. I've got a wee pathway between me and the house next door. They think they've got it good. They've got a brand new car in the driveway, which they're financed for over the next 4 years. They're financed on their house over the next 25 years. And it's like you say, it's a slave society we live in. I mean, about fiat money, it's based on slave labour. You know, the money that our society creates, the banks can print money off at will, but they don't. They could, and it wouldn't create any debt. We both looked into finance. We know that money is paid for by debt. You know, they buy it. The government get it from, in America, they get it from the, what they called again? The financial thing. What are they called? The Federal Reserve. They get the money from the Federal Reserve, which is a private company. And then the government have to pay the Federal Reserve back. Say it's $1 trillion. They have to pay them back $1 trillion plus interest. Now, where's that interest come from if there is only $1 trillion there to start with?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, completely agree with you. Yeah,
this is where your debt comes into it. Keep people in debt. If we all wanted to pay our money back at once, right? You know, I've got a couple of debts. People have got other debts. If they all paid it back at once, they would all be. They wouldn't be able to. There wouldn't be enough money in the system to pay back all these debts because it's more than, you know.
Absolutely, yeah, completely agree with you. I was looking at some nice houses where I live, and yeah, you notice straight away that every time you see a nice house, it's empty because the people are out at work trying to earn the money to pay for it. And what is the point if you can't enjoy it? What is the point? And you know, we're always told the investment is in bricks and mortar. And when you retire, that's what it's all about. You've got something to look forward to for when you retire. Not many people are sort of living to that age now anyway. And, you know, what kind of quality of life do these people have? Some people actually love their jobs. You know, they wouldn't have it any other way because they're conditioned to that system. And that's fine if that's, you know, if that's what they enjoy. But they're certainly not enjoying the, you know, the nice things in life that they've earned to pay for. And yeah, money is... it is a complete illusion. It absolutely is. And that's where I come back to that point about these reports they give us about what the government's been spending on and how much money it's lost and whatever. It's all held on a computer system. It's numbers on a computer screen at the end of the day.
Exactly.
You know, that's all it is. But no, we act like it's an actual physical thing, and no, of course it's not.
It's just bits of, it's promises to pay. I mean, it's not even money. You know, the bits of paper, it's I will pay the bearer on demand. Now, that's meant to be sterling silver. You should be able to walk into the bank and say, I want £5 of sterling silver. But you can't. You'll get arrested.
Well, yeah, that's it. And at the end of the day, you wouldn't want to anyway because you can't do anything with it. So the whole thing is an illusion from start to finish from what I can see. It's a bit like this trend with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is supposed to be really popular at the moment, the digital currency. But you invest in that, again, that's all held on a computer screen. It's not something you ever physically own. So you've never actually really got anything. And there's only limited outlets that you can actually exchange it for any type of goods. You know, you can't have 10,000 Bitcoins in your Bitcoin account online and go to your local supermarket to buy food because they don't accept Bitcoin. So it's kind of, I think even something like that has been put out deliberately to keep the people occupied. It's an outlet for people who are very vocal about the fact that the whole monetary system is a fraud. It gives them something else to play with in that respect and, you know, think they're winning. But ultimately, of course, they're not. I just cannot see the point of it at all. Unless there was a universal alternative currency that was accepted by everywhere and everyone, then all these things like Bitcoin are just completely useless. From the way I see it, anyway.
The Bitcoin thing, I nearly jumped onto that quite a long time ago when Claire was here, actually. I was in touch with Australia. The people who got my colloidal silver machine off. I was chatting to him one day and he said, he taught me a few things. He taught me about the straw man to start with. So how do we look down that path? But then he mentioned to me about Bitcoin. I said, "What's that? Never even heard of it." And he said, "Oh, you need to get into this. Get your computer up and running and start mining Bitcoins. You know, you'll make some money." And I was like, "Ah, okay, whatever." Kind of wish I had now, you know, because they're worth a lot of money. But it's ridiculous because one of them is worth, I don't know, is it $3,000-4,000?
But what would you do with it if you had it now? If you'd done that at the time and it's worth all this, what would you do with it?
Can you not turn them into cash? No.
Where would you turn it into cash? Who would do that?
I don't know. Maybe somebody, you can sell them, can't you? Just you can sell them, can't you?
If you can, that's great. But I'd never heard of that.
I don't know. I know that they get used for a lot of different purposes. Some of them nefarious, you know. But there is uses for them. But I suppose you'd have to be in that society, you know, where you're dealing. There is people in life who live their life on computers, and for those sort of people, they probably deal in Bitcoin. I mean, I know that there's computer places, like I've got a gaming computer, so there's computer places that accept Bitcoin. But even if you only have one Bitcoin, you know, yes, I'm going to pay you 0.00084 of my Bitcoin. They need sort of decimalization on it.
The other thing that I looked at was where the Bitcoins are actually held, because as it's a digital currency, it has to be held somewhere, because you can't just literally have it on your computer. I mean, it can't work like that. It has to be, you know, it has to exist somewhere to say that you own it.
Yeah, physically.
Yeah, that there has to be. And I think that was it.
It's a hard thing, but you know, there's people playing about with finance and stuff. I don't know if you've heard of Peter of England, but he set up his own bank called Weir Bank.
I heard. I'm sure I might have the wrong guy in mind, but this was a few years ago now, when the Freeman of the Land movement was really popular.
Yes.
And he was charging quite a lot of money to open an account.
But the thing was,
his special bank.
Yeah, no, but it was £10,000. But what you did was you paid that £10,000 with a promissory note that you make at home with your printer.
Right.
So it wasn't actually costing you any money. It was costing you printing.
What were you getting in return?
You were getting a checkbook that you could then use to pay your council tax or your mortgage. And
yes, I remember now. And these checks were
and they were getting honoured.
No, they weren't.
Weren't they?
No. If they were, mate, everyone would have them, wouldn't they?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
I remember this was a big thing at the time. Yeah, you reminded me now. I couldn't quite.
Why wouldn't he just pay off? I mean, instead of saying that people send me in your £10,000 promissory notes, instead of sending your £10,000 promissory notes, why didn't he just print off? If he found a way to cash promissory notes, for example, why didn't he just print off a lot of promissory notes? Why did he ask people to send them in?
Exactly.
So, but that's why I thought there was actually something behind it. You know, I thought he'd found a way to release the funds on the promissory notes.
No, I mean, if you can make up your own, because it's trying to use their, I say there as in the state's monetary system with your own methods. It didn't work. It's not going to work, you know. Like, but yeah, the whole money thing is just crazy. Yeah.
Well, what's quite interesting is I've just had my friend turn up who fantastically is making me a cup of coffee. Thanks, Ross. He's very interested in all the stuff I look into, but he's studying law, which is also quite interesting because you see it from both sides of the. You know, anytime I say anything to him, he's like, "Listen, have a wee proper read of this. You know, it's not actually what they're saying it is." Which is handy. I think I showed you the letter that he wrote for me.
I did, yeah, I saw that, mate. Yeah.
So.
Absolutely, yeah, that seemed a good one. The problem that I saw with the whole law thing was is it right? I mean, maybe he'll be able to answer, but
Sure.
is it right that all decisions when it goes through a court is decided by a judge? Now, you could have the perfect, you could be completely within the law, have all of your case history, test cases, everything else, and you're 100% right. But if the judge decides you're not, well, that's it. It comes down to his opinion. So if that judge doesn't understand certain case histories,
Yeah.
he can rule against you, even though you're correct. So it comes down to a
But then
judge.
you've got
Is
the
that
jury.
right? I don't know.
No, because it's jury that makes the decision.
Well, that's in a court of law where you'll be. The juries with criminal cases, haven't it? I mean,
Juries with trials.
yeah. No, sorry, I was talking about the money, the monetary system. So in civil cases, there may be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it was, say, a contract law, and you were saying this company's done this and it's voided its contract and such, and you've got all of your case law together, or your test cases and everything.
Yeah.
But the judge doesn't understand which test cases you're referring to. He doesn't quite get it. He could rule against you, even though you're completely right. Is that true?
Well, I'll tell you what. If you talk to the audience for a little while, I'll ask for you and I'll find out.
Okay. Well, we don't have to do it now. We can.
Well, he's here, so I was take 2 minutes. It's just I need to switch off the mic and the camera to do it.
No worries, mate. Yeah.
All right.
But if you can,
I'm back.
as well,
Yeah.
then the bound to follow Preston.
Okay. So yeah, the judge. Nah, he would know his stuff. Hello, Mr. Harris. Okay. So he was asking a question on law there. But apparently judges spend a lot of time studying law, more so than a lawyer, to be diligent in what they're doing. So I don't know if Leigh can hear me, but that was the answer to his question.
Oh, sorry, mate. I was on mute. Right on, but yeah, I'm here now, mate.
Can you hear me now?
But no. So it does come down to the judge's opinion. Then that's what it does come down, and we have to trust that the judge knows everything.
The judge should know everything. I mean, he's been at it 50 years. He should know everything.
Well, if he's a 70-year-old judge, he has.
If he's a 70, you don't get young judges. Do you get young judges?
No. Okay. No. But the point is that, I mean, all I was just trying to find out was it does come down to the judge's opinion. Is that right? That's what the judge is there for. It's his opinion. So he could misunderstand a test case or subject matter that you're putting across where you are within the realms of law correct, but he could misunderstand that and rule against you.
Only if you, he's just saying that only if you put a sort of new spin on it in a way that he didn't understand, and it could maybe reopen the argument, and it would be harder for you to prove your case. So you'd have to, I don't know, go at it again. It would just take longer then, wouldn't it?
Well, there's set principles of law, but they don't always apply to it. Like the facts of two cases are usually the same.
Right.
So if you've got different set of facts,
Yeah.
the set of law might not quite apply to you. Therefore, you really can't accept.
Okay. There you go. Over my head. I enjoyed the contract law side of things. I think contract law is great fun, especially when you're dealing with companies, because we don't actually realize it. Even though we sign a contract, when we agree to something with a company, we don't normally think of ourselves as getting into a contract with somebody. I know you say you're going to get a mobile phone contract, but I don't think we actually realize what getting into a contract means. Yeah, going to car parks, getting into a contract, everything. Well, oh yeah. Did I tell you about that? How to park in council property without getting a ticket?
You did, yeah, and I was sceptical about that as well.
Well, see, when your friend who studies law smiles at you and says about that, then he's, I would say it's pretty. Like,
Has he done it then? Has he done that?
Yeah.
Theoretically, he's saying, but it should
So
work.
he's not done it then.
Well, he hasn't. No, he hasn't.
But he smiled.
you don't really need to. But you don't really need to in Falkirk.
Surely you need to do it to know that it
Mate,
works.
you can park outside the town and you can walk into town in like 3 minutes. It's tiny Falkirk. So you don't really need to think about parking here. We don't live in a city. But I think that's more if you're in a city and you're parking in council things and stuff, you know.
Has there been a test case using that note that you put on your windscreen? Has it been in court before?
I don't know, but I mean Nick Freeman is he's a very famous lawyer.
Yeah,
and he wouldn't say it if he. It's not a. I know you thought his name being Freeman sounded very sort of Freeman of the Land type, but yeah, it's more sort of he does the celebrities and celebrities who get caught drunk driving and stuff. He gets them off and things like that. He's a loophole lawyer. He really knows his law. That's the thing. He's called the loophole lawyer. So he finds loopholes in the law and uses them. And
as long as the judge knows that law as well.
Well, they do. This law is how the travellers. That's how travellers go into a car park and take up a whole car park and basically shut it down because they've gone and put their caravans there.
But they were still open to prosecution by needing to be evicted, though, weren't they? They weren't immune from.
Yeah, but eviction, obviously prosecution.
Yeah, but you're not going to park your car in a council car park and then go for eviction. You're parking it and you're going home. So by putting a note on your windscreen saying I don't abide by your laws, yet you park in their car park, that's different from travellers.
I didn't say I don't abide by your laws. It said I am parked here illegally. It's to do with the terminology is used. Laws all down to words. So it's to do with the words used. I believe I don't agree to your terms and conditions. I'm parked here illegally. As you saying you're breaking the law and they have to use other grounds to remove you.
But you're going home anyway.
But
they don't need to remove you.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I mean,
but they can still issue you a ticket. To simply say I don't agree to your terms.
But then you could go up to court and say that you were parked there illegally, and then they would have to charge you with whatever they've got. They might not. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe they don't have a law to actually charge you with parking. You know what I mean? They can give you a parking ticket, but if you don't, you know what I mean? They've not actually. I don't think they've got a law in place that they could charge you with. There isn't a parking illegally charge, is it? Really?
Yeah, no, that'd be be a good one. If anyone ever goes to court and see sort of what the court says.
But I've played with the courts before. Did I tell you about the time I did it? The speeding ticket.
Oh no, go on.
It was kind of a lot of fun, but it was kind of like quite bad as well. Bad things happened. So the first time I went up, I tried a bit of the free man of the land type stuff and the name and all that, So I sat in the waiting area as everyone does watching the other cases, and they shouted me up and they said, Robert Peden. So I stood up and I walked to the dock, got into the dock, and they said, are you Robert Peden? And I said, do I have permission to use that Crown copyright name? To which I can't remember what member of the court it was, turned to the judge. The judge looked confused. And this person turned around and said, he's a free man of the land, sir. And I went, are you implying I'm not free? And I said, I need to get a what do you call it? I need a plea off you. You're chasing spiders. I need a plea off you. I need you to tell me whether you're guilty or innocent. I said, well, I need full disclosure of the case first. I said, I don't have all the information in front of me to give you any information, to tell you anything, you know. Mr. Peden, you're obstructing this court. If you don't stop, I'll have you arrested. And out that, he called on a WPC to have me arrested. And I said, I told her to stop. I said, you don't have any jurisdiction over me. I haven't done anything wrong. And only what do you call it, a jury can call a, what is it called again? A contempt of court. Because it's am I right there, Ross? Yeah, but it's brought on by the jury, isn't it? It has to have a jury present. No. Okay. Anyway, but the WPC was turned around from me, and at that the judge noticed that my wife was in the audience filming, and she wasn't being subtle about it. She was holding the phone up like this, and the judge turned around to the WPC and said, "There's someone filming, get them." So she ran up to my wife, and I quickly followed, you know, and I was like, what's going on? Oh, she was filming. I said, well, there's no laws that say she can't, you know. So anyway, there was a bit of a brouhaha. The WPC grabbed Claire by the wrist and stuff. And then she went to, the WPC released her and said, go and sit down. So she went away and got either advice or backup. And next thing, we're sitting waiting to go back up to the, you know, for me to go back up into the dock. And the WPC walks in, leaned over to Claire and said very politely with a nice smile on her face, can I get a wee quick word for you about your phone? And she went, sure. She went, I'll be back in a minute. So she went off out the court. 2 minutes later, a guy came in and he came up to me and went, that's your wife out there, eh? I says, he says, you better go out, they're arresting her. I went, what? So I rushed out. Right enough, they're chucking Claire in the handcuffs. There was like 6 of them around her or something, you know. And you're like, this is ridiculous. There's no signs anywhere saying you're not allowed to film in court. And it's a public court as well. So anyway, I went back in. They said, right, want your plea, Mr. Peden? I said, you're having a laugh, eh? I said, you've just arrested my wife. I said, I need to go to school, pick up my children, and then I need to get my wife out of the cells. I said, this is ludicrous. So yeah, Claire got arrested, which was good because she got 8 hours break, 8 hours break from the kids. And yeah, I was furious about that. It was when she had cancer, and we declared that the whole way through. They still put her in cuffs. And she showed no violence, but they put her in cuffs when she had cancer.
That's awful, mate.
Oh, shocking.
Yeah.
Anyway, so after that, I got a summons to go to court. So I was due to go to court in the morning. The night before I was due to go, Claire got taken into hospital with an infection to do with the cancer. So on the morning, I had the kids to take to school, etc., and the kids to look after her. Claire was in the hospital, to go into the hospital. So I phoned up the court. I said, listen, there's no way I can come into court today. I'm sorry. Could you please, like, you know, reschedule it or whatever, and I'll be in court the next time you ask me to come in. That was that. Claire got out of the hospital. She came home for a couple of days, then she went into the hospice. While she was in the hospice on a Sunday night, there was a knock on the door at about 12:15, and my friend here, he was sitting here, and another friend was here as well. You know, we're just having a chat. Knock, knock, knock on the door. So I had a look out the living room window, and there's 2 policemen standing there. Mr. Peden, we've got an arrest for your warrant, a warrant for your arrest. I'm like, pardon? I says, you can't arrest me. I said, my wife's dying in a hospice. I've got 2 young children up the stairs. I says, what do you want to do? Oh, we're taking you into the cells. No, you know. And it was just fortunate my friends were here, because Ralph, my friend, he ended up staying with the kids. I got taken into the cells, and I was held until 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Bloody hell, mate! What an experience!
It was for not turning up at court that day. The day that I phoned them up and said my wife's in hospital, ill, and I need to look after my children. They immediately put a warrant out for my arrest.
Bloody hell! Nah, it's crazy, mate. Absolutely.
It's a horrible society. I've been watching a lot of these videos on the fracking site down in England, I can't remember where it is. Have you seen any of the stuff from there?
I have, yeah. They treat them terribly. I mean, from what I've seen anyway, these people, they're not. Well, they don't seem to be causing any bother. I mean,
They're not violent
protesting,
protesters.
obviously.
They're peaceful protesters, and the police are being violent. I mean, really violent.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, I saw a van turn up. They look like private security, so sort of G4S type thing. And
They did, didn't
bailed
they?
out of the van, and they just sort of mobbed on these protesters, and they really inflamed the situation, which then, of course, led to them. You know, the protesters getting arrested by police because they reacted, which you'd defend yourself.
But what I do like is how they're speaking to them, because the police have obviously been told, listen, unless somebody hits you, you're not arresting anybody. You know what I mean? So they're allowed to say what they like to them. Plus, they're on private property. The police aren't allowed on the private property.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So they know the laws, and the police have told, obviously, the commissioner, chief of police, or whoever, has obviously told them, look, these people know the law. Everyone's filming you. You need to be careful, you know.
Can they not be arrested on private property then?
No, they can be arrested on private property, I believe, but they would need a warrant, wouldn't they? They wouldn't be allowed to enter private property. They would have to get a warrant of entry, wouldn't they?
I'm not sure if they were.
Yeah, it depends on what they were doing. If they were standing there stabbing somebody to death, then yeah, they could go onto private property and arrest them. But if it was to arrest somebody for something to do with a protest, they would have to get a warrant of entry, surely. They couldn't just go in and say, we're nicking you.
Or there'd have to be a really, really good reason. But yeah, a lot of, being antagonised and, no, it's not good to see. I mean, these people just try and document, what's going on. That's why they're filming, they're, trying to bring the images to everyone so everyone can see.
Apparently, I've just been told here, the Bill of Rights says that you have the right to protest. Yeah. So what is it? Have the right to protest? All right, wait, check the law books. But the right to protest without being hindered. So the police hindering them is actually a breach of the Bill of Rights, because they are being hindered from protesting. I mean,
unless they were on private land, I suppose.
They're not. Public
the land. Didn't you say they were in private?
Mm-mm.
They're not on private.
They're on a farm right next to the site, and obviously the people on the farm agree with the fracker, so they've allowed them to use their land.
Gotcha.
So they're behind a closed gate with barbed wire and stuff like that, So
yeah, I'm with you now, mate. Yeah, no, that's not good at all.
The fracking. I mean, the laws are slightly different up here. We don't have the Bill of Rights. We have the Bill of Claim of Rights. Yeah, the Claim of Right. Sorry, not the Claim of Rights, isn't it? So, yeah. Okay. So, what else has been happening? We've been saying gabbing on for ages here about absolute dribble. Wow. So, 1,000 jobs in Falkirk. I thought that was a really good thing, but maybe it may not be. I'll be able to tell you actually on that, because when we go past, we see the buses. We see how busy it is. We see how the car park, because it changes. You can tell when they've got a contract because the cars are all in. There's buses lined up outside. We make London buses here, and we have the worst buses going. I mean, we have Y registration buses and things in Falkirk. You'd think if we made the buses that actually are world leaders,
you'd get the best.
We would get the best of buses to say, by the way, this is where you buy them from. Oh, look at the crappy old buses they've got.
I mean, if these new jobs that they're creating, I think if they pay a living wage rather than the minimum wage, then that would be a good thing, because people can actually support themselves and have a lifestyle.
But these 1,000 jobs are for tradesmen. These are tradespeople.
Right, okay, I got you.
You're talking painters, you're talking fitters, fabricators, people that do seats and things like that, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so these are skilled jobs that...
yeah, so I mean, these...
Only for certain set of people.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Oh wow, no way. Do you know what this is? It's. I'm pretty sure the guys who work there are on like temp contracts. So if they don't have buses to build, they go, well, sorry, like, you know, there's no work just now.
Yeah, drop them off. Yeah.
But yeah, you got a contract for 200 buses, 90 buses.
Mm-hmm.
You can hire 1,000 staff back, yeah?
Yeah, and then kick them.
And then say that you've hired 1,000 staff, but where in actual fact you're just taking on maybe they are taking on some, but maybe they're only taking on 500.
Yeah. Well, it's a con, just like all the people claiming job seekers allowance who are sanctioned because they couldn't get to a job interview arranged by the job centre.
Yeah, I know.
So they're sanctioned. Then the government, because they're not getting any benefits, then the government says, well, they exclude them from the claimant figures. So they say, well, the amount of JSA claimants has gone down since we've been in government.
Sanctions aren't allowed in Scotland.
Are they not?
No.
Oh, right. Okay.
They've been overturned.
Oh, that's a good thing then.
I mean, the law does actually, when you claim benefits, it says, when you read the bit of paper that tells you how much you're going to get, it says this is what the law says that you require to live off.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you need to live off that. That means eating, cleaning your clothes, stuff like that. Doesn't mean traveling for a job interview.
No.
You know what I mean? That money's there for you to live off. The law states that as well. So when they're sanctioning people taking the money away, they're actually breaking the law because the law states they need that much money to live off.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
No, sanctions are horrible. It's, you know, you haven't got any money to go for this job interview. We're taking your money off you.
Yeah, that's literally what they do. Yeah.
They tried it. They tried it with me, with Claire. Like I was saying to you about contract law. I went to the benefits agency, and they wanted me in for a back to work interview. And I phoned in sick this day. That was meant to have the interview because I was sick of going. I didn't really want to go, you know. They said, well, you can't do that. I said, well, actually, I can. They said, no, we need you to come in. I said, well, you're a doctor. I said, because if you're a doctor, I'll come in and see you. If you're not a doctor, I'm not coming to see you. Right, okay, right. I said, well, that's the end of it. Look, I've told you I'm not well. If you send me out another date, I'll see you then. So they sent me out another date, and they took me into a secure room with a security guard. And this room was all cameraed up and everything. And the woman turned around. She said, right, Mr. Peden, about this... I can't remember exactly how it went, but she said something along the lines of, if you don't agree to this interview, we will stop your wife's benefits. Right? I knew a bit about contract law, I think, because I'd been listening to them. And I turned around and I said, are you trying to bully and coerce me into a contract? Because the back to work interview is a contract. You're agreeing into a contract to look for work. So you're not allowed to bully or coerce somebody into a contract. And that's what I said to her. And as soon as I said that, she stood up and walked out. And I never, ever heard from them again.
Good on you, mate. Yeah.
It was brilliant. And I shared that information. I told everyone about it. I was like, listen, you know, here's a way to deal with it. So, yeah, no, they've stopped the sanctions up here. So.
Oh, that's good then. Yeah, because I know they still go on down here. It's still a major problem.
It's wrong.
It is wrong, yeah. It's terrible. But yeah, it all goes towards the figures. You know, get people off the list of claimants, and it looks like unemployment goes down when they do that. But
I'm going to put sound on to the TV because I think it's not fair on my guest. He's sitting here, he's listening to one side of the conversation when I could hear two. Can you give me a wee sound test to make sure you're not getting an echo?
Testing. 1 2 1 2. Yeah, no echo, mate. That's fine.
Right, cool. That way you can hear. So, hey. I'm trying to think what else. Do you know, I see so many things in the news, and I go back and I'm like, I'll find these things. They were on about Diana. Yeah. They were saying that the princes were disgusted, you know, how all the paparazzi sat around when Diana and Doré were in the crash and they were murdered.
Yeah.
Now, this went to court and it was proven that they were unlawfully killed, I think was the actual... Was that which basically means murdered. Yeah.
I don't think it's quite like
If it's unlawful. Anyway, they decided it wasn't the fault of the paparazzi. It wasn't the fault of the little Fiat. But they were still going by that story on the news. They were saying about the press, you know, it was down to them that she got killed. They never mentioned the bright flash, the big white light that caused the driver to get blinded and crash into the pole.
Ah, right, I'm with you. Yeah.
But yeah, they're still going by that story. I mean, Diana was killed off. You know, that wasn't an accident. On me, Paul. Now, I'm sorry, I drive fast. You know, I can drive through a tunnel at 65 miles an hour. That's not fast. It's probably the speed limit in that tunnel. It might be 60 miles an hour, 50, 60 miles an hour. Okay, there's a dip there, but it's not. That's a Mercedes S-Class, top of the range Mercedes.
I think if she hadn't have been separated from Charles, there might be more of an argument that it was a genuine accident. But the fact she was estranged from him just goes to show that the royal family didn't want her around. Everything seems to add up a little bit too well, I think.
Yeah. Well, she said Charles was going to kill her. He said Charles was going to kill me in a car crash in the interview with Martin Bashir.
she said when she was pregnant, because it all went back before she had the kids, that she was so depressed with family that she thought of throwing herself down the stairs.
That's right, yeah. So, but people forget, you know, they forget things about 9/11, they forget things about... I made sure I was showing Matthew a video tonight. Have you seen this shot of building number 7 with the explosions going off?
No, I've not seen any explosions on that one.
Oh, right, it's quite good. It's not quite good, but I mean, as just before the building comes down, you see the telltale demolition explosions.
Yeah.
So you see up the face of the, you know, certain windows, and then it collapses. I showed him that. I said, "Remember that?" So, yeah, I know. And they had the emergency control center on the 17th floor, I think it was. So if there's any disaster in New York, first thing the mayor does is go to the specially made control center on the 17th floor, I think it was, which had its own air supply, its own water, its own power. It could control everything from up there. And then when 9/11 happened, the plane crashed into the tower. Rudy Giuliani went somewhere else. He didn't go there. And you're like, well, hold on. It's right on the doorstep of where the thing's happening. You don't know the building's got to come down at that point, do you? Or do you? Exactly.
It's like with when the first trade center went down, or at least the first trade center got hit by the plane. I think it was about 17 minutes or something like that before the second one got hit. And they say that obviously a large amount of casualties, about 3,000 people, I think, that died apparently, came from that second building. So if you're in that second building and you watch your neighbouring tower get hit by a plane, first thing you're going to do is evacuate your building.
Well, they were told to go back. They were told that they were safe. Don't go out. The emergency services need to be able to arrive. They don't need to be hindered by people leaving the building. You're safe. Go back to your desks. You know what I mean? But I think if something that serious had happened to me, I would be like, I don't care what you're saying. I'm going. You know what I mean? I don't like it.
I mean, all of those last phone calls that we heard as well. People calling their loved ones and everything because they were trapped in the offices that were filling with
horrific,
smoke.
Yeah, horrific.
Well, yeah, I mean, of all those phone calls, did you hear anyone coughing because of the smoke? Because I've listened to as many as I could find, and no one seems to be coughing. I'm a bit dubious about. Obviously, we know the majority of the story is completely fake, but just how far does that fakery go? Were those buildings actually populated that day? Because if we say there were no planes, which is a logical thing based on the evidence that we've got, now there were people, families that supposedly died on board those aircraft, and what we're saying is there were no planes, so there were no families. Those families were made up. there were phone calls recorded from those families on those planes.
And
So
that
we're saying
was easily debunked though, because
think
you
there
weren't
were
able
planes?
you weren't able to make phone calls from airplanes on mobile phones at that time.
This is what I'm saying. This was part of the evidence they put forward, was there were these phone calls of families on the planes calling their loved ones and saying their goodbyes. Now, we had the same thing from the towers. If the plane phone calls were fake, what's to say that the tower
Ones from the
phone
towers
calls
weren't.
were real? How far did they fake this? Were those buildings popular? I mean, obviously we'll never know the truth, but we're only speculating. But I would seriously doubt at this point that those buildings were populated.
I found something bizarre last week on 9/11. I mean, I'm always watching 9/11 videos. I still learn new stuff, like I'm just about to say. Did you know that the, what do they call it, the rock under the ground? If you dig down, you reach bedrock.
Yeah.
Right. Did you know that the bedrock got melted?
No, I didn't know that, no.
Yeah, neither did I.
From the jet fuel.
From the jet fuel, which smouldered and burned for 4 months, I believe it was.
Oh, right. Okay.
And it melted the bedrock. So, yeah. So the building came down and all that heat came down with it and sat there and smouldered away and melted the bedrock. Yeah, that's quite bizarre. So there's talk of mini nukes and what was the type of weapons we're talking about? Direct energy weapons, I think they're called.
Yeah.
Because if you look at building number 6, it had a big hole in the roof that went all the way down.
Well, doesn't the bedrock melting, doesn't that support the official theory of jet fuel? As in, you just said it came down. So could it actually not be true that the bedrock melted? I mean, could that just be...
You're back onto your headlines debunked mode, aren't you?
Well, no, I'm just saying you were told the bedrock had melted. I mean, none of us have been there and seen it. I mean, we've not seen any evidence for it. But
I've seen the images of it.
Okay, but by them saying that supports their jet fuel story, which we know isn't true.
No, it doesn't support it, Adam. Sorry. It doesn't support it, no. Because how does jet fuel melt bedrock?
How does jet
hold
fuel
on, let's
melt
find
steel
out how
beams?
hot. Hold on.
It doesn't, does it? That's the point.
Yeah, it doesn't. So it doesn't support it then. I think you're being daft.
I don't know if we've got cross wires. What I'm saying is, they came out with the official story that the jet fuel melted the steel beams. Then they come out with the story that the bedrock had melted. But like you were saying, it's supposed to be because the building collapsed into its footprint with all of this smouldering jet fuel still going on. Neither of the stories make sense, but
yeah.
Could that be why they're saying? I don't know. I'm just wondering why they're saying, because I don't believe for 1 second bedrock melted. I'm sorry, but I don't. So I'm just wondering why they said it. That's all.
But who said it?
Well, you did. So I assume
I know
you got it from somewhere.
I'm going to take the hold on a second. 9/11 melted bedrock. That's full typing. Photos reveal melted granite. And what about all this stuff? I mean, there's a lot of radiation poisoning.
I know there were cancer cases.
This is not granite from a thermonuclear explosion. It's an ice age glacier from 2,000 years ago. No, it's not. All right, okay. Huh. All right, I'm just having a wee look at picture I've seen. Right. The official story goes that, can I make this picture any bigger? Yes, I can. Right. I'm going to do a wee bit of screen sharing here. Bear with me. Screen share. 2 more pages. That one. Start screen share. Okay. Right, have a quick look at your screen, Lee, and tell me if you are seeing.
No, it's not come up.
Wonder if I'll stop. Present to everyone. Here we go. Right, you should be seeing my screen now.
Not yet. Not unless it's on a delay. Can't see it.
Right, just
right
bear with.
now. Oh.
Still nothing.
No, nothing yet, mate.
That's annoying. I don't understand why it doesn't. It's not even showing my camera up. You know, when I get that infinite thing. Participants, stop. Let's retry it. Stop. Screen sharing. Very strange. Google, get your act sorted out. Come on. How hard is it? Let's try this. We'll try full screen here because there's different options. Oh, we've got the echo thing here. Oh, have a look now. Have you got infinity on your screen?
I have, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's tricky. Right. You see what we're seeing?
Got it. Yep.
Cool. Right. So this is definitely ground zero. Yes?
Okay.
This hole here, where the cursor is,
Yep.
was a hole that was created allegedly by a nuclear device. This is the start of bedrock up here, where this orange fence is. And they're filling this hole with concrete. Can you see down here this concrete?
Yeah.
So that is what I'm basing it on. But when I looked at that, I also found another picture which I saw, which I was told was from 9/11. This one here. No, it wasn't that one. So it disappeared. This one, and then it said that it's an ice age glacier from 2,000 years ago. But the photograph is showing 9/11. If you look up here, there's like framework and buildings and things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You know, remember there's people that go out to intentionally debunk things.
Yeah.
So, but this appears to be the way to do the screen sharing. Just do the full screen thing, and then you can get my screen. So let's do a wee bit of hopeless plugging here. So, YouTube. Freak it out. Well, let me just. Right, and oh dear, you don't come up in the search engine when I type in your channel's name. So for anyone watching, I don't know if anyone is watching because I'm not on the right screen, but this is the channel's Headlines Debunked. Awesome channel presented by none other than Lee Harris, who's on the Hangout with us just now. And this is his latest video, Wheel of Mandela Effects. Fantastic game. Go and have a shot.
Have a free spin.
Have a free spin. Everyone's not a winner.
No one's a winner on this game.
No one's a winner in this game. So, but yeah, it's a good channel. Have a look. False flags. Yeah. I was having a wee look at a thing today with memes showing the amount of times they use dummies, like shopping dummies.
Yeah.
Shop dummies. Oh wow, that's so cool. Whee!
See the terrorists from the Barcelona attack in court. Or some of them are.
They're in court. That means they're innocent. And they released one as well. Yeah, thanks for that. Did you hear about that?
No, what was that, mate?
The two of the terrorists from Barcelona have been arrested and they're actually going to appear in court.
Oh, right. I saw one of the terrorists, one of the first ones that they arrested.
Got released.
Yeah, they tracked him because he'd rented the van or something, and he said, no, it wasn't me, it was my brother. And I had nothing to do with it. But that's about as far as I tracked the story too. I didn't realise there was a second one. And then I know they went out and killed a load more after that.
Yeah. White vans, the vans seem to be the thing nowadays in the transport. I really think there's something in the back to the 1984 and electric vehicles and control of electric vehicles, like you're saying with the bill, with the electric meters.
Yeah.
I think control of everything is what they're after. Think about it. If they really want the NWO to work, the way to do it would be to have absolute control over everything.
Oh, definitely, yeah. It'd be the only way for them to do it, and they're on the right track for it.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't much left for them to take control of. They've pretty much got
exactly.
everything at the moment.
Finance is all digital. Your TV's all digital. Your internet's everything's digital now. Your road tax is digital. Everything's gone from being something that we kind of had control over, something that we no longer have control over anything. There's going to be a point coming 20 years where you're driving along in your car and your car's going to switch off because the government have said it needs to be switched off.
So you can imagine that sort of thing. Yeah, you've gone too fast. You've gone over the speed limit. Shutting you down.
Well, no, I don't mean like that. I mean like there's been some sort of event happened, something's happened, and they just at the moment, say 9/11 happened again, or something along those that sort of level. They shut down the phone networks so that they have control over the phone, so the phones don't get jammed up. So you could just see them doing something similar with cars, with whatever they've got control of,
That's it. Yeah, in the name of security, national security.
In the name of national security.
Yeah, definitely see that happening.
Yeah. And while you're sitting there in your car stationary, we've got gentlemen coming down with guns who will just check you and make sure you are who you say you are. We'll just check you with the biometrics of your eye. Boop. Oh, you are who you are. Okay, no problem.
Yeah, we'll check the chip that we put in your arm. Yeah.
yeah. We'll come up with our scanners. Eh? You criminal. You'll never be a lawyer.
But the police here aren't allowed to keep my fingerprints unless I've done something.
Oh, okay. Why have they got it in America? Because did they take it when you went in the country?
Yeah, you have to get picture taken for your fingerprints so you don't get it.
Seriously? Wow. You hear that?
No, what's that?
So my friend's saying that you okay with your name going on, yeah? So Russ was saying that he was, when he went to America, his fiancée is American. I think she's after a green card, to be quite honest. Because you wouldn't want to marry him, you know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, I know. Something that's after the green card in America. No. He's saying when he went across there, they take your biometrics. When you go into, into America, they take your photograph, take your fingerprints. Yeah.
Bloody hell.
You know what I mean? And have you seen the videos of is it the TSA? The people that, the ones that search you and all that, yeah? Right, so the TSA, have you seen the videos, Lee, of like the wee girls getting felt up and things?
No, I've seen some pat downs, but nothing like that.
No, there was one pat down I saw a woman. I nearly got turned on by it. It was quite erotic. The large black lady, her colour's got nothing to do with that. I know. I'm not racist before anyone puts comments in. She was having a good grope of this woman. I mean, you're talking sort of like giving it some of this and feeling the boobs, but then going back and doing it again. You know, it was just like you were just copping. I feel the husband was sitting there filming it, going, "Is she
What's
quite
going
finished
on?"
feeling my wife up?" You know. The other one with the wee girl, she was 11 years old, and the woman was horrified what she was seeing. She was like, "This is an 11-year-old girl, and she's groping her," and she was groping her. She was basically touching her private parts, and he's like, "That's way wrong," you know what I mean? Okay, fair enough. People use mules and things like that, but come on.
Yeah, and then people accept it. They say, "Well, it's all for our safety. You know, it's got to be done to keep us safe." Oh.
Yeah, because there's a lot of these child fanny bombs going about.
Yeah, a frequent thing, mate. Frequent thing.
Yeah.
Right, mate. I'm gonna have to shoot off.
Okay,
But same time next week.
Defo.
Awesome, mate. Okie dokie.
Thank you to anyone else who's joined us or who's watching us after it was live. And hopefully you can come and join us next Wednesday, 9 o'clock, with me, your host, Robert, and Leigh in sunny Penzance.
Very sunny.
All right, folks, well, take care and see you next Wednesday.
Cheers, mate. See you later.